In many languages, including English, the number categories are singular and plural. Some languages also have a dual number or other arrangements. The count distinctions typically, but not always, correspond to the actual count of the reference of the marked noun or pronoun. The word number is also used in linguistics to describe the distinction between certain grammatical aspects that indicate the number of times an event occurs, such as the sum-effective aspect, the iterative aspect, etc. For that use of the term, see grammatical aspect. Overview. Most languages of the world have formal means to express differences of number. One widespread distinction, found in English in many other languages, involves a simple two-way number contrast between singular and plural. Discussion of other more elaborate systems of number appears below. Grammatical number is a morphological category characterized by the expression of quantity through inflection or agreement. As an example, consider the English sentences below. That apple on the table is fresh. Those two apples on the table are fresh. The number of apples is marked on the noun apple, singular number versus apples, plural number, on the demonstrative, that, those, and on the verb, is, are. In the second sentence, all this information is redundant, since quantity is already indicated by the numeral 2. A language has grammatical number when its nouns are subdivided into morphological classes according to the quantity they express, such that every noun belongs to a unique number class. Noun modifiers and verbs may also have different forms for each number class and be inflected to match the number of the nouns to which they refer. This is partly the case in English. Every noun is either singular or plural, and at least some modifiers of nouns, namely the demonstratives, the personal pronouns, the articles, and verbs, are inflected to agree with the number of the nouns to which they refer. This car and these cars are correct, while this cars or these car are ungrammatical and, therefore, incorrect. However, adjectives are not inflected, and most verb forms do not distinguish between singular and plural. Only count nouns can be freely used in the singular and in the plural. Mass nouns, like milk, silverware, and wisdom, are normally used in only the singular form. Many languages distinguish between count nouns and mass nouns. Not all languages have number as a grammatical category. In those that do not, quantity must be expressed either directly, with numerals, or indirectly, through optional quantifiers. However, many of these languages compensate for the lack of grammatical number with an extensive system of measure words. There is a hierarchy among number categories. No language distinguishes a trial unless having a dual, and no language has dual without a plural. Geographical distribution. Obligatory plural marking of all nouns is found throughout Western and Northern Eurasia and in most parts of Africa. The rest of the world presents a heterogeneous picture. Optional plural marking is particularly common in Southeast and East Asia and Australia, and complete lack of plural marking is particularly found in New Guinea and Australia. In addition to the areal correlations, there also seems to be at least one correlation with morphological typology. Isolating languages appear to favor no or non-obligatory plural marking. This can be seen particularly in Africa, where optionality or absence of plural marking is found particularly in the isolating languages of West Africa. Number in specific languages. English is typical of most world languages, in distinguishing only between singular and plural number. The plural form of a noun is usually created by adding the suffix s. The pronouns have irregular plurals, as in I versus we, perhaps because they are ancient and frequently used words. English verbs distinguish singular from plural number in the third-person present tense. Old English did contain dual grammatical numbers. The Finnish language has a plural form of almost every noun case. Talo, house. Talot, houses. Taloissa, in the houses. However, when a number is used, or a word signifying a number, the singular version of the partitive case is used. colm tallow, 3 houses. And where no specific number is mentioned, the plural version of the partitive case is used taloja, and in the possessive talanovi, talogenovat. French in modern Romance languages, nouns, adjectives and articles are declined according to number. Verbs are conjugated for number as well as person. In its written form, French declines nouns for number. In speech, however, the majority of nouns are not declined for number. The typical plural suffix, s or s, is silent, no longer indicating a change in pronunciation. Spoken number marking on the noun appears when liaison occurs. Some plurals do differ from the singular in pronunciation. For example, masculine singulars in al sometimes form masculine plurals in o. Proper nouns are not pluralized, even in writing. Normally, the article or determiner is the primary indicator of number. Hebrew in modern Hebrew, a Semitic language, most nouns have only singular and plural forms, such as sf book and sfaim books. But some have distinct dual forms using a distinct dual suffix. Some use this dual suffix for their regular plurals, and some are inherently dual. Adjectives, verbs, and pronouns agree with their subjects or antecedents numbers, but only have a two-way distinction between singular and plural. Dual nouns entail plural adjectives, verbs, and pronouns. Modern Russian has a singular versus plural number system, but the declension of noun phrases containing numeral expressions follows complex rules. For example, see dual number. Slavic languages for a discussion of number phrases in Russian and other Slavic languages. The numeral 1 also has a plural form, used with pluralia tantum. 1 pair of jeans, 1 clock. The same form is used with countable nouns in meaning only. There are only idiots around. Swedish inflects nouns in singular and plural. The plural of the noun is usually obtained by adding a suffix, according to the noun's declension. The suffixes are as follows: or in the first declension, r in the second, in the third, n in the fourth, and no inflectional suffix is added for the nouns in the fifth declension. Verbs in Swedish do not distinguish singular from plural number. Types of number: singular versus plural in most languages with grammatical number. Nouns, and sometimes other parts of speech, have two forms: the singular, for one instance of a concept, and the plural, for more than one instance. Usually, the singular is the unmarked form of a word, and the plural is obtained by inflecting the singular. This is the case in English. Car, cars, box, boxes, man, men. There may be exceptional nouns whose plural is identical to the singular. 1 sheep, 2 sheep. Singulative versus collective. Some languages differentiate between an unmarked form, the collective, which is indifferent in respect to number, and a marked form for single entities, called the singulative in this context. For example, in Welsh, moch is a basic form, whereas a suffix is added to form mochen. It is the collective form which is more basic, and it is used as an adjectival modifier, e.g., cig moch. The collective form is therefore similar in many respects to an English mass noun like rice, which in fact refers to a collection of items which are logically countable. However, English has no productive process of forming singulative nouns. Therefore, English cannot be said to have a singulative number. In other languages, singulatives can be regularly formed from collective nouns, e.g., Standard Arabic hajar, stone, hahara, stone, baka, cattle, bakara, cow. In Russian, the suffix for forming singulative form is in, e.g., grad, hail, gradina, hailstone, liard, ice, dina, block of ice. In both Russian and Arabic, the singulative form always takes on the feminine gender. In Dutch, singulative forms of collective nouns are occasionally made by diminutives. Snoep, sweet, candy, snoefje, sweet, piece of candy. These singulatives can be pluralized like most other nouns. Snoefje, several sweets, pieces of candy. Dual. The distinction between a singular number and a plural number found in English is not the only possible classification. Another one is singular, dual, and plural. Dual number existed in Proto-Indo-European, persisted in many ancient Indo-European languages that descended from it, Sanskrit, Ancient Greek, Gothic, Old Norse, and Old English for example, and can still be found in a few modern Indo-European languages such as Slovene. Many more modern Indo-European languages show residual traces of the dual, as in the English distinctions both versus all, either versus any, neither versus none, and so on. Many Semitic languages also have dual number. For instance, in Arabic all nouns can have singular, plural, or dual forms. For non-broken plurals, masculine plural nouns end with un and feminine plural nouns end with that, whilst an is added to the end of a noun to indicate that it is dual. Pronouns in Polynesian languages such as Tahitian exhibit the singular, dual, and plural numbers. Trial. The trial number is a grammatical number referring to 3 items in contrast to singular, dual, and plural. Several Austronesian languages such as Tolomeico, Lahir, and Manam, the Kiwan languages, and the Austronesian-influenced Creole languages Bislamra and Tok Pisin have the trial number in the pronouns. No language is known with trial number in its nouns. Quadral. The quadral number, if it existed, would denote 4 items together, as trial does 3. No known natural language has it, nor is there any proof that any natural language ever did. It was once thought to exist in the pronoun systems of Marshallese, spoken in the Marshall Islands in the Pacific Ocean, and in Surshurunga, in Tonga, and in several other Austronesian languages. While not all of these languages are adequately attested, it turns out that Surshurunga instead has both a lesser Pausal and a greater Pausal. The distinction is along the lines of a few versus several, and that what Marshallese actually has is a trial and a Pausal. None of them has a quadral. In at least 2 cases the field workers who originally suggested they did have a quadral were also the first to publish a peer-reviewed article contradicting that suggestion. Pausal number. For a few instances of the referent Pausal number has also been documented in some Kurtgetic languages of Ethiopia, including Bisa, which marks singular, Pausal, plural. When Pausal number is used in Arabic, it generally refers to 10 or fewer instances. Of the Indo-European languages, Northern Kurdish or Kurmanji is one of the few known languages with Pausal number. For instance, Karin and cf. Gelik Karin. In Russian, genitive singular are also applied to 3 or 4 items, making it similar to Pausal. Italian language, although among Romance languages, has a similar pattern, using prepositions die plus article, named articola participo. Distributive plural number, for many instances viewed as independent individuals.